Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter. All right, we are on. Good evening or good morning, everybody, and welcome to TV Skywriter. I'm Pat Murray. I publish the Durham Skywriter, that's Durham NC's online community paper. Now, half of my guests are out of town, half of my guests are in town. And today's guest is a Durhamite. We have Shemecka McNeil, and she has a really interesting, I can't wait to talk about this, nonprofit. It's called Slice. Is it 325 or 325?
325.
Slice 325. And as it says on the website, where healthy food is a social justice matter. That's deep right there. Welcome to the show, Shamika.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us what first of all what Slice 325 is, and then I'm going to ask you how it got started.
Okay. Slice 325 is serving locations, inviting culinary education 325 days out of the year.
Hmm.
Um, that's what it means.
Okay. Okay.
How it got started was I've always been around food. My aunt was a caterer. My grandmother had like a little restaurant, and my
Okay.
grandfather was a farmer. So
Nice.
we always kind of ate healthy, but we still had like our cheat days. And I went into medicine first, and then after that, I went back to school for health promotions,
Mm.
and with excuse me, with a concentration of culinary. So I'm a
Mhm.
chef too. So I wanted to be able to
Nice.
teach people about healthy food and also show them how to cook it too in a kind of diverse way. Kind of show people the diversity of food instead of
Okay.
eating the same thing the same way all the time. I put a little twist into it.
Okay. Now, this is a dumb question. I'm going to ask it anyway because I want to know how you got to the point where you realized that people needed help in this department. I mean, everybody eats,
Hmm.
but how did it occur to you that we need help in determining what we eat and how we eat it?
Well, for a while I had struggled with my weight and healthy and eating healthy and things like that because fast food is cheaper. It's quick,
Hmm.
it's easy, and
Hmm.
healthy food costs so much. So I had to kind of go back to my roots with farming and things like that. Well,
Hmm.
I moved out and I was living in an apartment, but I didn't have a yard. So I bought these little planter boxes and started planting my own food on my
Nice.
patio. So after I started eating more of a plant-based diet, but I still keep my meat in there, just me.
Hmm.
I started feeling a whole lot better, and I started looking better, and I had more energy.
Hmm.
So after I got my mom on board a little bit, she started feeling better, and some of her medicine she didn't have to take anymore because of that way that she changed her way in eating. Now I would tell people, yeah, eat healthy, but you also have to have cheat days, even though if you work out. Like I'm not saying I did another podcast with another guy and he was like, so you can't eat the whole hog. I said, no, you can't eat the whole hog. Just eat some of it, but you had to put some greens behind it, to just move it through or
Hmm.
whatnot. So I teach health, but I also say, hey, you eat healthy, you deserve a treat. So, have that slice of cake, but just hey, eat it in moderation.
Okay. Now, with Slice 325, and of course, I invite people after the show to go to
Hmm.
slice325.org
Hmm.
and explore the website.
Hmm.
It's very colorful and
Thank you.
and very very interesting. And again, healthy food as a social justice matter is really interesting. Now, I want to ask you. Now, judging by the website, you're aiming to help low income people in particular. Although
Hmm.
I think people of all incomes can improve their diets. In my
Hmm.
but when it comes to low income folks, that really kind of hits me right here
Hmm.
because I'll tell you why. I'm from Chicago,
Hmm.
and one day I was listening to WBEZ, that's the local NPR station, and I was listening to this week long special
Hmm.
on food and health and that kind of stuff. And they won one of those big prizes, Pulitzer or
Hmm.
Nobel or some kind of prize for this series. I was infuriated because this one segment they were concentrating on low income communities.
Hmm.
And it was obvious that they were in an area that they were not accustomed to.
Hmm.
They were blaming poor people for not buying healthy food and cooking with healthy food, et cetera, et cetera. And I was infuriated because when you're living in a low income area like I was, Woodlawn, shout out to
Mm-hmm.
Woodlawn, um, all the stores are, I'm not going to say what we call the stores, that might be a little offensive, but the stores are
Mm-hmm.
owned by people from other countries and they
Mm-hmm.
really don't care about the community. They're just, I mean, they're running a business. So when you
Mm-hmm.
go into these little grocery stores in the low income communities like Woodlawn, Inglewood, um,
Mm-hmm.
you will notice no fruits, no foods that expire. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing fresh.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to even find milk because those are dated as well. So kids are brought up thinking that juice are those little purple barrel shaped plastic containers with sugar
Hugs.
water, purple color.
The hugs. We call them
Oh,
hugs.
okay. Um,
Yeah.
and kids think that that's juice.
Mm-hmm.
And even the moms, you can hear the moms telling the kid to finish your juice. And I'm like, that's not juice. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm making a short story long. I'm trying not to. But this really hit so hard with me because if you're on welfare and you got kids at home and you're at
Mm-hmm.
home, you're not going to be able to take all four kids with you to the grocery store outside the neighborhood to buy something fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the way the bus system works now in Chicago, it's changed since I moved. You can't even get a transfer to pay your ticket and then come back on the same ticket. You have to pay two fares now, and the
Oh wow.
fares have more than doubled. So we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about like almost like a $5 investment just to go out of
Mm-hmm.
the neighborhood to go to the store and come back. In the meantime, what are the
Mm-hmm.
kids doing while you're at the store, right? Because you're not going to take,
Definitely.
I mean, if you're on welfare, you're not going to take the kids every week to the grocery store, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to shop at the little neighborhood grocery stores that don't have anything fresh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to tell you about that because that is a major, major problem with low income people in the inner city.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have access to anything fresh. It's by design. So
Mm-hmm.
don't blame them for their poor eating habits. I know you can do the best you can, sure, but don't fuss at them for only eating canned foods and ramen noodles when that's all you get at the store.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get off my soapbox
That,
and let
but
you say something.
that, no, I totally understand. Well, I kind of teach you how to get around the system. Like what you said, Roman noodles. Most people don't know how to make fresh noodles. Fresh noodles is the only water, salt, and egg and flour. You have
Well,
that.
tell us how to do that because
So
I don't know anything about that.
see, to show you how to get around the system. So with noodles, that's a easy staple to
Hmm.
make, and it's fresh noodles. It's not processed or anything like that. Only process is from your home. And far as the fruits and vegetables, I tell people, when you go, if you're in a low income neighborhood, the library has free seeds all the time, all different types of
Hmm.
seeds. So that's where the patio gardens
I
fit
love
in.
that.
You can grow tomatoes in those buckets that you get from
Hmm.
Lowe's, the
5 gallon
5 gallon
buckets.
buckets. You can grow tomatoes in there. You can grow peas in there. I have also grown okra in a flower pot.
You know what they
And
do in England? You know those
what do
bags
they
of
do?
soil? They actually just they
Oh
make an
yeah.
X in a bag of soil and put a
hmm
plant in there.
hmm Yeah. So if you live in a low income neighborhood, like some of them have patios, some of them have like little porches. You could put stuff out there
Very
for
true.
that. So that right there is, if you need something for your kids to do, that's a project for them. They have to keep the plants alive.
Okay.
And also with the pillar program where it said that I teach budgeting and couponing. Couponing is kids busy work. So while you're doing whatever you need to do by working and things like that, they can clip coupons, and thus teaching them how to add and subtract, because that's all
Hmm.
couponing is:
Hmm.
add and subtract. And when you go to the grocery store, people look at coupons like, oh, I don't want to use them. That's money. And I use the example as saying, sometime when you go to Harris Teeter, they'll have, buy $50 worth of
Hmm.
stuff, get $10
Yeah.
free. So you buy $50 worth of stuff, He already give you $10. That's 40 right there. And then say if you have $20 in coupons, how much is that?
Wow.
Basically
Wow.
free.
Nice.
So I teach you how to get around the
Nice.
system. And I don't blame them at all for, we don't have access to this, but I don't think they have the access to the information
Oh,
to be able to sustain
very important.
themselves. So I'm giving that,
Okay.
I'm giving them the
Nice.
information.
And let me backtrack just a bit. We are in Durham, North Carolina. This might not be true for everyone watching, but the Durham County Library System has seed banks. So you can go to the library and they have these little cute little files with these adorable little envelopes with seeds, flower seeds,
Yeah.
vegetable seeds. And also, if you grow flowers and crops or whatever in your yard, you can share your seeds with the library. Just put them in a little envelope, a little bag, a little Ziploc, and they will put them in the little envelopes for people to pick up, and they're free. You
Yep.
just go through it, to say, let me see if they have any eggplant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's wonderful. It's really, really. I've donated seeds to the seed bank,
Mm-hmm.
and I've received seeds as well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Now about the ramen noodles, I want to go back to the ramen noodles. I've never seen anybody ever make noodles, but I'm going to look it up. I do
Okay.
want to say one thing about ramen noodles. A lot of people say that, and I have to admit, when I'm feeling homesick for the South Side of
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, I will buy that 6 pack of ramen noodles. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's your comfort food.
Exactly. But here is how you can get away with not taking in too much salt. A lot of people say
Mm-hmm.
that ramen noodles are too salty, and some people are on medications that don't allow them to have a lot of salt. You can actually cut a piece of potato and put it in while the ramen's cooking, and
Mm-hmm.
while the after you put the spices in there, and then you stir it up, with potato in there, and then you extract the potato, and it'll take a lot of the salt with it. Don't
Okay.
eat the potato; throw it away. It absorbs a lot of the extra salt. So there
Mm-hmm.
you go.
That's good to know.
These are really good points, though, and I think a lot of low-income people, middle-income people, anybody really needs this information because it seems that a lot has changed in the world. In the
Mm-hmm.
1940s, when they did a study on um, the general health of North Americans, Black people were the healthiest Americans in the
Mm-hmm.
40s. And I wasn't alive yet. I'm only guessing that maybe the jobs were more physical. And I'm also
Mm-hmm.
guessing that uh, now people growing up when I was a kid, I was born in 1955, um, greens were very popular. Greens
Mm-hmm.
and other vegetables were popular. It seems that they're no longer popular. I don't know about greens. I'm sure they're still popular. But vegetables have pretty much fallen off in terms of people consuming vegetables. A lot of kids are unfamiliar with vegetables nowadays because
Mm-hmm.
you don't get vegetables at McDonald's and these other fast food places that a lot of people who don't know how to cook or don't want to cook, they rely on, Wendy's and Burger King and McDonald's and stuff. And it seems things have changed not only um, in terms of the 1940s where people were eating more real food and working more physical jobs. It seems that the generation between maybe this generation, maybe let's say millennials, and my generation, baby boomers, I don't know what happened. It's like people stopped cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And can you explain what happened? I can't figure out why all of a sudden people stopped cooking. It seems like in the 70s, I noticed people were no longer cooking.
And from my how I feel, we don't really have too many grandmothers anymore. Any more old school grandmothers anymore. Most of like some of the people like my age, they started having families early, so their moms were young
Mm-hmm.
also. So when you have a whole bunch of kids, you really don't have time to cook. You just have to, do what you need to do and just get out and maybe like give them a hot pocket just so you could be like, okay, well, yeah, I gave you something to eat, this, that, and other, and then that ties over until when you get older.
Mm-hmm.
Because like me, I'm a grandmother's baby. She cooked every day, 3 meals a
Mm-hmm.
day, this, that, and other. My mom so much didn't really too much do that. So with me mostly staying with my grandmother, to me cooking is it's not even a chore. It's like if I'm hungry, I'm gonna have to cook something, or if I have something in the house, I'm not getting ready to go run out because I'm gonna use up what I have. Versus my sister, who mostly stayed with my mom a lot, she's more of fast food because my mom didn't cook that much because she had to work to provide for us. So I think it's like kind of like the correlation of like if we have families, life is busy, life is hard, just get what you can get right now. So, because we have to move on to the next one. So everything is kind of like in a rush. Like I travel around the world and I see like people in different countries and they always have like family time. Like my favorite place is Italy. Well, my second favorite place. Cuba is my first
You've been
favorite
to
place. I could
Cuba?
live there. Yes, love it,
Oh, wow,
love it.
I want to go.
It's amazing. People are so nice and they cook everything they have. I didn't have any type of processed food. I didn't even really see a chain there. I don't think they can. So everything they eat is either they went outside to pick it
Hmm.
or it came off a tree, and that's what you're gonna get. It's more of a family. Everybody eat together, stay outside. People have walk a
Well,
lot more
okay.
instead of drive. Things like that. And even in Italy, when I went there, everything closes at 5 o'clock. So if you didn't get any money from the bank or this, that, and other, you just out
For
there.
real?
But a lot of them just have like big family meals where everybody cooks and brings and sit down and you talk and you have outside. Here in America, we just rush, 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 rush.
Okay. I've heard Italians say that food is their life, and
Hmm.
I'm like, why is it such a big? And hearing you say this, it might not be the food. It might be food is what's bringing everybody together.
It's a lot of outside living,
I like that. I like
a
that. I
lot
like
of
that.
outside
Now,
living.
when it comes to Cuba, um, is it true? I heard that with the fall of the Soviet Union,
Hmm.
Cuba didn't have the money that they needed, and so they started opening
Hmm.
these huge community gardens. So did you see
Hmm.
that?
I volunteered for one. Well, I volunteered for a farm.
Wow.
And the way they do things over there is so much simpler, but it's a little more
Mm,
work. But the food tastes so much better,
mm,
so much better.
wow. Have you ever known anyone who attended your classes and then told you that they actually prefer cooked food, that they make themselves to what they grew up with, which is probably like fast food? Have you been able to
Hmm.
actually make that transformation?
Yes, yes, but it's kind of like a phase a little bit. It's according to what's going on in their life. Like they just like with the pasta, the homemade pasta tastes better than the box pasta.
I can
It's
imagine,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I told you, you know. But it's the thing of we don't have
Hmm.
time because we got to go this place, we have to go that place. My kids needed this, that, and the other. It's more of time, so we can kind of find a work-life balance where we have time to do all of this stuff and take care of the stuff that we need to take care of. More people will probably do it a lot more, but out of my class rate, I say like 70% are still doing it,
Hmm.
and other ones are doing it some. But and some like, yeah, it was fun to do as a class, but I really don't have time right now.
Okay.
So I'm kind of happy with 70%, whether it's they started their own little garden, far as like just making peppers or tomatoes or something like that. And I tell people a $3 pack of seeds, you can live off of tomatoes for the rest of the season versus going to the store and buying tomatoes and paying $3 each time you go to the store.
Exactly. And I want to talk about your classes, but first I
Hmm.
want to continue on talking about time for a second because we're talking about low income people. So let's stay on
Hmm.
that. And I have to, again, I have to say that I have to talk about what I know, which is south side of Chicago,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
very often the working poor have two jobs. So you might have a part time job,
Yeah, lock up this
and
door.
then your kid
Oh.
let themselves in after school, and then you go to your second job.
Hmm.
You might not get home until like 9 o'clock. So I'm
Hmm.
not expecting people to be cooking gourmet meals, but I want to
No.
ask you: is it possible at all for a family to get together on maybe Sunday and cook for
Yes.
the week? Is that
Hmm.
possible?
That's
If that
possible.
works, explain how that would work, because that kind of sounds like a good idea to me.
For those that I tell people, empanadas and tamales. You can make those kind of healthy, but that in itself is kind of like a production. But you can save those. You can put those in the
Okay,
freezer,
now
and you can make them.
empanadas are the little. Wait, tell us what empanada is.
They're like little breaded, little hot
Mhm.
pockets, but you could put meat and vegetables or whatever else you want to put in them, and you can freeze those, so you can make them however you want to make them. And tamales, a lot of people like tamales because you can fix those any type of way you want to too.
Okay, okay. Because what I tend to do, since I live alone now, um,
Mm,
I will make a whole thing of, for example, spaghetti, or a
mm,
whole thing of groundnut stew, and eat that all week, and then have like a side salad. So,
mm,
is that reasonable for families? Because growing up watching television, it seemed that the way Americans ate, maybe not my family in particular, but Americans in general, was that you would have to have something different every day, and people
Monday.
frown on leftovers.
Yeah, but I like leftovers, and I tell people, spaghetti always tastes better 3 days later.
No, but people seem to
But
think that you can't eat the same thing every day. I eat the same thing until it's over.
yeah, you can, but in a way, that's kind of like how some people are raised. Because I have some friends that their mom cooked every day because she didn't like leftovers.
Mhm.
So if you have the time to do that, then hey, you can do that. But if you have other stuff to do, then you have to do what you have to do.
Okay. So explain to us if this could work. So you just left the office. It looks like.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Um. Okay. Now you're steady. Okay. So tell us how this might work for a working family. Now, a lot of times, again, if you're low income, very often you're going to be working on a Saturday if you're working retail. So, how
Hmm.
can they make a Sunday work for a family that wants to eat better? And also,
Hmm.
if you could tell me if I'm right or wrong, that if you cook dinner, especially a bunch of dinners all at once, that you can actually save
Hmm.
money.
Hmm.
So tell us about
You can actually save money, but it's not. People think that when you do, let's see how I can put this. When you want to save money, you have to put in a little more work.
that. Okay.
And I say that by meaning, okay, you could go out to eat, and then it was no effort at all. You just went, sat down, so you paying for the place, the people, and your food. So you kind of playing like three times,
Mhm.
playing three way. Versus if you're home, you might have to work a little bit more, meaning it'll be more prep, but it'll be
Mhm.
cheaper. So some people don't want to put in the work, but once it's just like working out. I used to have to talk to myself to go to the
Mhm.
gym. Like, I'm gonna walk through the door, I'm gonna do
Mhm.
this. So when you want to do like these meals on Sunday and say like you have Sunday available to do this, you're gonna have to put in the mindset that okay, I'm gonna fix this. It's gonna be a little work, but we're gonna eat off it for maybe three
Mhm.
days. And then after you kind of do that in a repetition, it gets to the point where it doesn't phase you anymore. Like Sundays, I cook, and then the more you do it, the faster that you get at you the faster that you
I agree.
get. So it won't take you as long to prep. So now it's just like when you go in there, you just knocked out a couple of meals in about an hour and 20 minutes, and then it'll go down from there. And then it's like, well, it's just not. I'm used to it. Just like it's kind of like muscle memory. I'm used to it now, but you can't go in there and say, okay, I'm gonna do this Sunday. Oh my gosh, this was just so hard. It just took so much time. You have to pick yourself up, do it again next Sunday. And the more you do it, the faster you get, and the more it'll be like repetition.
Another thing, though, is that once you've bought a lot of these ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you have to rebuy everything every time you cook something,
Mm-mm.
which is nice.
Nope.
Now, when I make, because spaghetti is my favorite dish, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to buy the spices every week or every month or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I have plenty of spices. Then usually I just have to go out, and I don't even have to buy pasta every time because I have a lot of pasta. Just buy the meat,
Mm-hmm.
and so it can be really cheap. Now I have to admit something. Don't tell anybody, but I was brought up with mostly fast food,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in my 60s. I'm just now really actually learning how to really cook. I
Okay.
bought a pressure
You're
cooker.
never too late.
I'm learning off of YouTube videos. It's
Mm-hmm.
really fun. I'm also
Yeah.
checking out recipes online, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning how to make dishes like feijoada, which is a Brazilian dish, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
groundnut stew, which is a West African dish. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of meals that last for like all week, which again I
Mm-hmm.
don't mind because I was
Mm-hmm.
brought up with mostly fast food, so and it's embarrassing to admit that.
Yeah, that's
I had a good
okay.
mother, though.
It
I
is.
have to say that. I had a wonderful mom, but
Uh-huh.
mom was a terrible cook. Oh my gosh, she's looking at me. Sorry, mom, but she was a not a good cook. My
Mm-hmm.
grandmother was a good cook. My dad's mom,
Mm-hmm.
but it
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it took me until like now to really get into the swing of
Mm-hmm.
actually cooking. And having a
Yeah.
pressure cooker is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
And crock pots also. If you have a crock pot and they're really inexpensive, you could throw something in there and then go do whatever you need to do and come back and have a meal.
now that's the opposite. I think a pressure cooker is like super fast, and a crock pot
Mm-hmm.
is cool because it's super slow. So you can actually
Mm-hmm.
cook a stew while you're asleep or at work.
Yep.
I like that idea. Let's talk about your classes because we want people
Mm-hmm.
to sign up and to explore slice325.org and really get into what it is that you do, which is to teach low income people how to um, get access to healthy food, how to
Mm-hmm.
get over the obstacles of getting access to healthy food, to cook
Mm-hmm.
and improve their health. And I
Mm-hmm.
have to say now, since I started cooking, I do feel a lot better. I feel
Mm-hmm.
a lot better, and I have more. It is true what you said earlier. I have a lot more energy, and I feel better. And it's like you're thinking clear, more clear. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what it is, but tell us about your classes because that's really exciting.
Well, with those classes, you could kind of some people tailor it to how they want to tailor it. Mostly churches do. They'll say, okay, we want you to come in and do a couponing class, or we want you to come and do this, that, and the other. Well, I'll start with the table manners. Well, dining
Hmm.
etiquette. Some people, and it's I do all ages with that because little kids, they need to know how to properly feed
Hmm.
themselves and how to conduct themselves at a dinner
Hmm.
table, whether home or in the public. And some adults never had that taught to them when they were younger. So when they get older and somebody invites them to a nice restaurant, they kind of have anxiety because they don't know, like they have no idea of what this glass is, what this fork
Yeah,
is,
why
this,
is there
that, and the
more
other.
than one fork and all this sort of yeah,
Yes. And why are these glasses on here? And what is all of this, that, and the other? So I teach them the
nice.
basics, but then it's according to who it is, whether they want to. Well, I know the basics, but we're going here, and they're probably going to have it set like this. So I'll show them how the whole setup
Hmm.
works and what you do.
Okay,
So that kind of gives them a sense of confidence. And when they go, they're like, okay, yeah, I know what to do now. I got this. And then they're happy.
nice.
Far as like with the little kids, I teach them how to do that. And I also tell them, I'm not cleaning up after yourself, and your mom's not cleaning up after yourself or
Mhm.
anybody else. When you get finished with the plate, you take it, either put the plate in the trash if it's supposed to go in the trash, or in the dishwasher, or the designated area that your mom puts
Mhm.
it in. And I tried that with K through 5.
Okay.
And the moms were like, I don't know what you did. I don't have to clean up after them anymore. I was like, I don't clean up after them when they're in school. So
There you go.
this is what we
Mhm.
do. So that's the dining etiquette part. The couponing is showing you how to coupon, and I tell people if you know how to add and subtract, you can coupon because that's all it is addition and
Let's
subtraction,
talk about
and
couponing
teaching
real
them.
quick though, because when I was a kid, we would clip coupons from the Sunday newspapers.
Mhm.
Are they all online now or what?
You have some still in the papers and some are online, and I think a lot of people places are going to digital.
Hmm.
So you can like download the apps on your phone. And like I was giving you that example before, if the store is already giving you $10 for this and you have $20 for that, you just saved a whole bunch of money. But people's like, well, I don't have time to coupon. I'm like, do you have kids? Because I work my nieces and nephews. I work them. So, like, if you have kids that's busy working, that's also teaching them mathematics, so you can take them to the store and
But
show them.
if you go to Food Lion, like I have a Food Lion app,
Hmm.
and I mean, there's coupons right there on the app, and
Hmm.
there's also
Yep.
whole websites where you can print out coupons or link to them, and you can save so much money. It's ridiculous.
That's what I tell people. In order to save money, you have to do a little work.
It's worth
But once you start doing the work, it seems like it's not work
it.
anymore. It's easy.
Okay.
So that's what I do with that one. And budgeting is mostly like looking at prices of different items and things like that, saying whether it's better to shop at the farmers market for some things, or is it better to shop at the grocery
Hmm.
store for other things, and trying to come up with a food budget. And with the food budget, it also teaches you portion control, because you might be so hungry, and then, like I said, your eyes was bigger than your
Hmm.
stomach. But just knowing the right portion size to sustain you throughout the day.
Okay. And speaking of the
That,
farmers market here in Durham, um,
mm-hmm,
if you have SNAP or EBT, they will
mm-hmm,
cover your purchases up to $10. So
mm-hmm,
if you're spending $10, you get $20 worth of food.
mm-hmm,
So yeah,
yeah,
definitely check that out. And if you're not in Durham, check with your farmers market. You might have the same accommodations for for low income
mm-hmm,
people because they want to encourage people to shop and to eat healthy.
mm-hmm, yeah.
So
And they're also doing something else too. I think you get a token for something else too if you have SNAP and you go to the farmers market.
okay.
I saw that online somewhere too. So I mean, it's perks to
Mhm.
it. And also, um, I also teach people who get food from the government, and I tell them, when you look at it and you open the can of beef or chicken, it looks like dog food, and you feel like, I'm already down, so now I'm really at the bottom of the
Yeah.
barrel. So I show you how to make that taste good. And to be honest with you, if you look on the back of the can,
Mhm.
it's really just meat and salt,
Okay.
opposed to what the other stuff do,
Okay.
what the other stuff in the grocery store have. So it's kind of a lot healthy for you. And I said, yeah, it looks like it's dog food, but you know what? You could take this and make spaghetti
Mhm.
out of
Mhm.
it. You could take it and make lasagna out of it. You could put this in tacos. And they're like, oh, you could do all this? Yes, you can make meatloaf out of it. It's a
Right.
lot of things that you could do.
I'm still intrigued about your saying that you can make your own noodles. So how do you make noodles though?
um well, with noodles, you well, I shouldn't say noodles. I say pasta.
Pasta.
But when I say pasta, people say
Okay.
noodles. So what you do is, I give you the recipe. It's a cup of flour, 1 egg, salt, and water. No, and a little bit of
Hmm.
water. So what you do is you get a cup of flour, you make it into like a little well. You put the egg in the middle, and you take a fork and you kind of scramble the egg a little bit, but you're going off the
Hmm.
sides to um, get some of the flour off the
Okay.
sides. Then you add your salt, and you just keep doing that until everything is mixed in together.
Okay.
And then you roll it up, you kind of knead it or whatever. Then you let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then you roll it out. And then if you got a pizza cutter, because some people don't have pizza cutters, pizza cutters work
Hmm.
fine, knives work fine. The noodles might not be as straight,
Hmm.
but you can make them straight. And that same recipe applies to different noodles too. Like you could do bow tie noodles. You could do linguine. You can do what's the other one? Lasagna off of that same
I'm gonna
recipe.
look that up. I'm gonna try that.
Hmm.
I'm definitely gonna try that.
And then like you can add color by saying, like, if you have a blender or whatnot, um, taking your blender and blending up the beets to like a puree and adding it to the mixture. So you have beet pasta or beet
Nice.
noodles or sage or whatever else you like to do with it.
Okay. Okay. I want to ask you about. I was looking at your website. Um,
Mhm.
Grocery assist missions. That sounds really
That goes
intriguing.
along with couponing. That goes along with couponing. It's because with couponing, they think that you can go there with a grocery list. With couponing, you really can't go with a grocery
Mhm.
list. Because say, like, if you have like 5 coupons of this right here and it's on sale, you go ahead and you get the stuff that's on sale. You don't have to buy that anymore. So the next time you go, you might have 5 coupons for something else, and it's on sale. Say if you have like toothpaste, and you have the toothpaste is $1, you have a coupon for 75 cents
Mm-hmm.
off. So you pay 25 cents for that coupon. Go ahead and use all of your Crest coupons up. The next time you go, you might have Tide.
Mm-hmm.
Tide might be on sale for $6, but you have a coupon for 2, and now it's $4. So go ahead and get your Tide.
Okay.
So after a couple of coupon runs, you'll be stocked up.
Oh, I see.
You won't have to
And
go
you have
back.
more money left over for groceries. Okay.
Yep.
Now, when it comes
So
to
that's kind of
when
navigating.
it comes to the groceries and the coupons, do you have to? Here's the thing. Sometimes when I look at what's on sale, I don't necessarily. I'm not in the mood for that. So,
Mm-hmm.
is tell us the best way to shop where you see what's on sale, and then you realize I could have made some, my favorite dish with that had I only waited to buy that when it was on sale. You know what I mean? So when,
Yeah, you can't really catch them all.
yeah,
You you just have to see what they have, and you have to make that distinction of whether you want to get it or not. Because there's been some things that I'm like, okay, I'll wait till they go on sale, even though it's on sale now and I have a coupon for it. I'll wait because I really don't want that. But then it's like I should have got it.
yeah, yeah.
So you have to make that kind of decision on your
And I
own.
always thought,
Because
I
some
always
things
thought,
I might not need.
go ahead.
Some things I might not need, but I'm like, hey, I can get this for 10 cents. I'm probably gonna need it eventually. So I just go ahead and get it.
Exactly. Because to me, it would take a certain talent to see what's on sale and then say, oh, I can take all of what's on sale and make this out of it. I'm not that skilled yet to be able to put together a recipe on the fly like that. I still have to
Mm-hmm.
follow the recipes as written. But I think more
Mm-hmm.
skilled cooks can probably see what's on sale and then make a meal out of that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. One time I was at the store. I don't know why this lady asked for my help, but she wanted me to help her choose what to purchase. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I taught her to look at the price per ounce.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her how big is her family, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why. Again, I don't know why she asked me. I was mystified by that, but it was a good exercise and a good thing for
Yeah.
people to know. She was wondering whether she should buy the little thing for $2 or the little thing for $5 or the big thing for $4.50 or whatever. And I said, look at the price per ounce. Is that good for you in terms of, how many kids do you have? Because sometimes I'll
Mm-hmm.
buy something like the small size, knowing that I'm not getting the best bang for my buck, but I live alone,
Mm-hmm.
so it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Whereas if I had kids or grandkids, of course I would probably buy the larger one and try to figure out
Mm-hmm.
which size to buy depending on the size of the family. And that's a good thing to teach too. Did you help people with that
Mm-hmm.
as well?
Yeah, that's food math. Cause say like sometimes you might can get away with 3 small ones and they almost equal up to the bigger
Mhm.
size, or sometimes it might be better to buy the bigger size instead of the small ones because of the price per
Mhm.
ounce.
That's really, really good
So
to
yeah.
know. Now, I'm curious about this list here where you say that you help people with canning and preserving food. That's something I know absolutely nothing about. What's that about?
Canning is like, say if you, well, back home, we shared a lot of food. Like if somebody had apples, we get like a bunch of
Mm,
apples. And so like we can't eat them all. So we might cook them and then put them in cans. So when the season is over
mm,
with, if we wanted some apples with our ice cream or apple pie, all we have to do is open up the can, put it in the filling, and put it in the
that's
oven.
clever.
And say like if somebody had like a whole bunch of tomatoes, you can't eat them all at the same time, all the time, and tomatoes is not in season in the
Mm,
winter. So if you want a stew, or we call it goulash, where it's like tomatoes, okra, and
mm.
corn, and you want something kind of hearty, you just open a can and put it in there, and that's
See,
canning.
now that's
Preserve.
frustrating because a lot of times all the tomatoes are ripe at the same time when you're
Mm-hmm.
gardening, and then you don't have any left over. You eat them all or you give them away because you don't know what to do with them. But that would be cool to be able to bottle them or can them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
and they look real pretty on your cabinet if you can them right.
Oh,
They're so pretty in the cans
so
on your counter.
so how is that done?
Um, it's a process. Okay, it's a long process.
Yes.
Well, it's not as long to
Mhm.
describe, but once you can them, you can put them up. If you can them right, you can put them up, and it's almost like a display
So you're cook. So you have to
because
cook them
it's
in
so
order to preserve.
you have to cook them.
So you don't have to refrigerate them. You can have them on the shelf, just like as if
Yep.
they were in a store.
hmm
That's a good deal. That sounds like it's really worth doing, especially if you're, because a lot of people, like when you work at an office, you know that one lady that comes in with all the zucchinis and everybody's tired of them,
hmm Yep.
and then she could probably can them and save them for later,
hmm
because you're not going to be able to harvest tomatoes and zucchinis and squash in the middle of
Or
winter.
if somebody
Not here.
give you cucumbers. Cucumbers you don't have to cook. You just put it's some cucumber spice, pickling spice that they sell at Walmart. I think it's like $2.
Mhm.
And you just add vinegar to it and you put it in the can. You can have pickles whenever you want to.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Now, before I moved here, I was told that the old Whitted School, which is now, of course, housing for seniors, it was a junior
Mm-hmm.
high school back in the day. My mom and my aunt both taught there. And apparently, when the school closed, when they integrated the schools or whatever, when they closed Whitted,
Mm-hmm.
they were teaching people how to can and preserve foods at Whitted. And
Mm-hmm.
I think they haven't done that since here in Durham, at least not in any large scale. Are are you planning to teach any huge, large scale classes, or
Well, I would like to, but I'm in the process of trying to find a home because other nonprofits let me come and use their facilities for right
Mhm.
now. So we're trying to raise funds to get our own home
Alright.
so we can do all of these different
Are you
things
going to have a GoFundMe
on a brand
campaign?
new scale. I started one, but I'm still kind of like in the tech. I'm not a techie sort of thing, so like it all stuff social media is kind of new to me right now. But I have started one, but it was just to say that just to show who we
Mhm.
are or whatnot. And I have an event coming up next week, a poetry slash and I have music there, poets, music, and food there, just to bring the community together and tell them who we are and stuff like that. Just trying to get the
Well,
name out.
tell us the date, time, and place.
Well, the date is August the 8th. The time is 6 o'clock. And it would be at, if anybody's from Durham and if they're familiar with Love and Respect building off of Andrew Avenue,
Yes.
it'll be there.
Okay. Awesome. Love and Respect. That's on Anger. Not too far from Driver, right? A few blocks east
No,
of
not at
Driver.
all. hmm
6 p.m. August 8th. That is on is that a Saturday?
Thursday.
Thursday. Thursday,
hmm
August 8th, 6 p.m. Love and Respect. Awesome. That's going to be a wonderful event. Let me write this down. You said music, poetry,
Food.
and are you going to have any food demonstrations or just
No, just food that'll be provided.
okay?
So
Okay. Now, for people who are watching this interview who are low income, who really want to improve their family's diets and just want to eat better and be healthier, how can they sign up for your class?
they can send me an email through my website, and then we can go from there.
Okay, and
Because it's not really a sign up because I go to whoever I call myself. We call ourselves Switzerland. So wherever somebody needs us, we're not like stationary to just one community. We make all communities our community.
nice.
So wherever you are, I've been all the way out in the country. I've been to the coast. So wherever you have a need or want to do a class, you just call us and we'll try to make arrangements to get to you.
Oh, you're not confined to just Durham?
Mm-mm.
Oh, what's the farthest
I've
away
been
you've
in
taken this?
I've been in South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia.
Oh, I'm surprised by that. That's amazing.
Yep, not just in Durham.
Okay,
Like I said, we make all communities our
I would
community.
love to see you
So
get your own. So you need a what do you call that? A commercial kitchen, right?
no, I don't.
No.
Commercial kitchens give the stainless steel syndrome.
Oh,
So I would probably just use like a regular kitchen that you would use in your house, but just on a bigger scale. but not have all the stainless steel.
Right.
Because we call that, well, in the hospital field, we call that the white coat syndrome. So in the culinary field, we call that the stainless steel
So
syndrome, because you're not going to have that many stainless steel stuff at your house, but we'll have it like the the um the area that we use for teaching, just like it would be at your own home. So you can take what you learn here and it'll be an easy transformation over to your home.
okay, well that makes sense. I didn't know there was such a an aversion to stainless steel, but I guess I
Mm-hmm.
guess it makes sense because if you can't relate to what you're doing at this fancy stainless steel place, you're going to have a hard time relating it back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Well, I do hope you can get a your own spot. And let's talk
Mm-hmm.
after the show because I'd love to see if there's
Okay.
ways that I can help. I'm pretty good with social media. Um, you will
Okay.
definitely need a video. There's,
Yes, that's what I'm scared of.
oh shoot, I can help you with that. There's nothing that frustrates me more than seeing GoFundMe campaigns that don't have videos. You got to tell the story.
Uh-huh.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to tell the story. People can't relate to you if they don't know the story. Simple fact.
Mm-hmm.
So you want people to go to slice325.org and then
Mm-hmm.
check out your class. So it's not just one class. You have several different classes and you take it wherever it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if you're
We call it a program,
okay,
because it's 5 weeks if you want to do the whole program, or we can tailor it to how your need is.
awesome. And it's free?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Now, how can people help who might say, "Oh, this is a wonderful project I'd like to help with, but I don't really need." Hey, Tachi's here. She's fantastic. She's a wonderful journalism professor and videographer. So, so
Okay.
what if someone is watching this and saying, "I want to help Shemecka." Um, what kind of help could you use from other people who are just curious about what you're doing and just want to reach out?
You can email me. We also have, and I tell people, help does not necessarily have to be monetary.
Okay.
We also use cutlery. If you want to host an event, you know, for
Oh, I
us,
like
do a
that.
fundraiser for us, that's cool also. Um,
That would be
if
slick
you,
to have a nutrition class at your venue. I
mhm,
like that idea. Mm.
yeah, if you want to do stuff like that, um, I think if you, we also have a PayPal link on my site too. If you really just want to donate funds or whatever, that's cool
Hmm.
too. And I tell people, I said we use canned goods because I also take food to people who, and it's mostly elderly people who can't really get out to come to the
Okay.
food banks and things like
Okay.
that. We make bags for them and we transport them out to people.
Okay.
So we take gas cards for that too, just for the gas to
Oh,
go out or
nice.
whatnot,
Right.
or bags because was it Bed Bath and Beyond donated some bags, some mesh bags, so we can put the food in it and it'd be easy to carry,
Okay.
things like that.
Now, I'm always trying to find ways for people to make jobs out of whatever it is that they're doing. And I want to tell you about
Mm-hmm.
a young lady in Chicago who had the coolest job. And this does kind of fit in with what we're talking about because we're talking about cooking at home,
Mm-hmm.
meal preparation, and health. There was a woman named Pam back in Chicago, and she had a clientele, mostly older people, who were tired of cooking or didn't have the energy to cook. What Pam used to
Mm-hmm.
do was to cook whole weeks, 1 week's meals, put them in
Mm-hmm.
like plastic containers, label them, and then give them to her clientele. Well, sell actually because it was a
Mm-hmm.
service, and it was
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. It was a great business because all they had to do was to pop them in the microwave
Mm-hmm.
and they could get the 5 day package, for the week because maybe they had
Mm-hmm.
over the weekend, maybe meals with their grandchildren or whatever, or they could have the
Mm-hmm.
whole week plan where she'd
Mm-hmm.
give them 7 containers of, and it was all divided up, meats and pasta meal or whatever. And I'm thinking, once you get this under how can I put this under your belt, so to speak. Once you learn how
Mm-hmm.
to cook, once you know how to how about portion control, like what you're saying. And once you really
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to put different types of foods together to make a tasty meal, that really
Mm-hmm.
can be a business for someone who wants to take it to the next step up. Not just help their
Mm-hmm.
family stay healthy, but also make it a business for people who are older who would appreciate just um, being able to pop something in the microwave and still eat something healthy.
Yeah.
So,
And also, when you do that, people used to like where I came from. It was like if you knew how to cook, you always had to work in a restaurant. When I did my culinary degree, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna have a restaurant. You need a restaurant." And I was like, "I don't want a restaurant. I want to teach. I want a
mm,
nonprofit." It was like, "No, you can't do that. You have to do that." And I've always loved to cook, but I was like kind of scared because it was like, "Oh, well, I have to be in a restaurant, and I don't want to be in a restaurant." So also with my nonprofit, I show other culinarians who's aspiring to be culinarians. You don't have to be in a restaurant. You can have your own nonprofit. You can teach. You can do food art. It's a whole bunch of things that you can do with being a chef.
did you
And I
say
said,
food
they say
art?
food art. That's like the art of plating. Like when you go to these different restaurants and you see them plate the food so well, and they have like all of these colors, and they have like little designs, and you're wondering how in the world they made a cheesecake look like that. That's food art.
Okay.
Or you can do food photographer, not food
Mhm.
photography. You can do that also. And I tell people, yeah, doctors and lawyers and policemen, yeah, those are some people glorify those jobs. Like, yeah, we're gonna grow up and be a doctor. Yeah, you're gonna grow up and do this, that, and other. Yes, those are important, but you also have to remember chefs are important too, because the nutritionist will probably tell you that you need to have this diet, and you might have to go to a chef to learn how to cook it.
Mm, very true.
And everybody has to eat.
Do you think they will
So
ever bring home economics back into the schools? Because we didn't have it when
I
I was
do.
a kid, but I know the generation ahead of
Mm-hmm.
me had what they called home ec, where they would teach you how to
Mm-hmm.
cook and whatnot.
I don't know, because that's why that creative sustainability came about. That's why I said it's home economics with a twist.
Mm, I like that. Okay. Well, Shemecka, thank you so much for being on the show. I really had
You're
fun.
welcome.
This is a really super fun show. So, everybody, you need to check out slice325.org and check out this wonderful website all about nutrition, food, and health. And again, I love the quote that I stole from your website where healthy food is a social justice matter. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the show, but we only have one person watching right now, who's Dr. Tachi.
Mm-hmm.
She might want to hop aboard, so I'm going to end the show now and then unlock the seats to see if Tachi wants to
Okay.
jump in and say hello. So what I will say is thank you very much again, Shamika, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. And folks, you know what to do. Enjoy the Durham Skywriter, durhamskywriter.com for community news, positive community news dealing with the Bull City. And don't forget to watch Bull City Notes every day on Facebook Live. With that, have a beautiful day, week, evening, and I'll see you later. Ciao for now.